Howdy grubs, you know the drill. If not, welcome. I'm a pretty busy mole. I talk more about games than I get to play them. So as a New Year's resolution, I said I was going to play and review more games this year. Pretty simple, right? So I set the challenge to be 100, and I'm at 95, so my victory is pretty much assured. I have beaten the games. The games did not beat me. I could play nothing but the longest games and still have plenty of time, so I'm pretty confident that I've already finished. The review part is what I'm behind on though, which is why this video has 4 games in it. And these games have nothing in common, so it's a weird one, thematically speaking. I've included the time it took me to beat these in case you're curious about my time management for these. At the end, we can see how many hours I spent doing this. So, let's dig in. Ziggurat 2, 50 hours. Ziggurat is one of my favorite roguelikes, back when this genre was still new and equally as oversaturated. It's just always been oversaturated. It's a fun game that plays like Serious Sam, but with a wizardly theme. The distinction about it being like Serious Sam is important because while both Sam and Doom are first-person shooters, they have 2 very different styles of play. Doom is about getting in the demons' faces, closing the distance, and beating the demonic snot out of them up close and personal style, mano a mano. Serious Sam involves you primarily walking backwards while shooting, keeping your distance, and blowing dudes up. Both rely on their weaponry to complement these styles of play. Doom has shotguns, chainsaws, melee weapons, the glory kill system, all to make you powerful up close, to make up for the extra damage that you'll be taking. Ziggurat follows the combat and design of Serious Sam more. You'll still hunt down enemies, but you'll still be focusing on avoidance. Rather than having things like glory kills and chainsaws to restore your resources while up close, Ziggurat 2 still uses this style of play when many other indie shooters would choose to go for the Doom route. In Ziggurat 1, you play a series of wizards trying to complete the Ziggurat to pass your exam to join the Order. Now in Ziggurat 2, you're part of the Order, and you go around the map completing quests by going through a variety of dungeons. The general gameplay loop is pretty simple, so I'll explain this first before getting into the progression mechanics. You'll pick a character, they have a wand, you'll get to choose it, and it's basically your pistol. Moderate rate of fire, ammo regens over time. The character will also have a passive and an active ability. For example, the first character, Argo, is the apprentice. He has his own health amount, mana levels, mastery, his active skill is Siphon, and it sucks in all the experience gems in the area. His passive gives him more experience per gem picked up, and he has a special effect that is unlocked through mastery levels. His Siphon will also generate barriers for each gem received because of this special effect. Barrier is basically temporary health. Once it's used, it's gone. The way the mana works is basically it's your ammo. Staffs, books, and alchemy weapons all deplete their own mana resources. Once empty, you'll have to find more mana crystals in the stage, and they just drop like regular ammo drops. You'll walk over them to pick them up. Staffs are staffs, books are of course books, and alchemy weapons are things like guns and bombs. Each of these categories have multiple weapons in them, each with their own elements, fire patterns, and other stats. When picking your character, you get a choice of character, wand, weapon, and then an amulet. If you haven't used them in a while, it'll give you a mastery bonus to encourage your use of them. Mastery is basically levels. As you gain mastery, you unlock new skills and passives for weapons and characters. Amulets are like a second active ability, but they can be equipped to anyone. Your selection of all of these things at the start are limited though, so you might have a favorite wand, but they won't guaranteed appear from the beginning. Once you make your choices, you're thrown into the dungeon you selected. The difficulty and length of the dungeon are going to depend on the one that you picked. They're still procedurally generated stages though. Once in, you'll explore from room to room, getting more weapons, money, and stuff like that. You'll do a mix of hunting down enemies to clear the room, walk backwards while shooting them, and do challenge rooms, all the roguelike stuff. And you'll fight huge bosses with unique mechanics. How you approach and experience each dungeon is going to vary depending on the character, as each one is functionally a different class. Like, there's a stealth character who turns invisible for a short time, that kind of stuff. Ziggurat 2, unlike many roguelites and likes, does feature an actual ending. You can beat it, and well, that's why it's on this list, because I beat it. This one is a roguelite, and the terminology here is kind of nebulous. There are a few ways that roguelite and like is defined here. Some people say if it doesn't play like the original Rogue, such as a mystery dungeon game like Shiren the Wanderer, then it's not a roguelike. But most people say if it doesn't feature unlocks, then it's a roguelike. To me, a roguelite is a game that features permanent progression mechanics, where each run is made easier through progression beyond just a new unlock. Unlocking a new weapon doesn't usually make the experience experience easier, unless it's Gunfire Reborn and it's Starfly, because Starfly is really good. But it doesn't guarantee that it'll make the run easier, because you can't guarantee you'll always have access to it when you need to. So I think those are still a roguelike. So Enter the Gungeon. I consider that a roguelike, not a roguelite. But again, my opinion on that is going to vary from other people's. Permanent progression would be something like stat increases, where you unlock it and it comes with you into the stage every time from the beginning. Ziggurat 2 is a roguelite. It gets easier with every subsequent run, but the stages do get harder over time. It has multiple forms of permanent progression, like I've already talked about Mastery. This is a slower but still potent way to increase your character performance and run performance. Since you're switching characters every run for maximum gains, you're probably not seeing the benefits immediately though. So there's a skill tree, and this definitely makes it a roguelite. Each skill tree is broken up into 4 categories: heroes, mana, weapons, and elemental link. Heroes will focus primarily on HP, experience gain, mastery gain, gold gain, and barriers. Mana is about mana recovery and mana capacity. Weapons is for pretty much just damage. Then last of all is elemental link. It's about elemental damage and resistance. I beat the game after 40-ish hours. My initial review on Backlog said that I played until 42 hours and still hadn't beaten it, but I have beaten it since, and I have 50 hours logged, so I'm guessing it's somewhere between 45 and 50 hours. I did take the scenic route though. I unlocked everything before finishing that game. Then I kept playing, and I played 50 hours total now, so if you're curious about whether I'm just playing short games, I hope this answers that question. I'd say it's a good game and you should check it out on a sale, but it does get a little tedious when playing long sessions. It's good for watching TV while playing. If you want to 100% it though, just know that I'm not finished yet, even with 50 hours. There's still lots for me to max out. Sonic Forces, 4 hours. That's a tone shift. Sonic Forces is a game I got when it was on sale on the PS4. I got it for the same reason that everyone else did. This is the one that features your own Sonic OC that you get to make. You can customize your appearance, color, clothing, and it's a pretty fun idea. Each character has a different species, and that affects how they're played alongside a Wispin, which is a doohickey that works as a weapon and a tool. But rather than allowing your character to have the spotlight the majority of the game, you're constantly switching in for Sonic or old Sonic. You never get much of a feel for any one playstyle because of how often they switch. I think this is because of 2 reasons. The first is that they weren't confident with this idea. They weren't entirely sure whether people wanted this kind of feature, enough so for it to be its own game. It also has a lot of live service fuckery, like daily logins and challenges, but lacks enough content to keep that interesting. This was a game for them to test and see what they could get away with and what aspects they might bring into future releases, sort of like a tech demo game. The second reason is, this isn't a game for getting new people into the series. This is a fantasy fulfillment game. It's for people who want to see their Sonic OC and want to see them next to Sonic. In this regard, they succeeded. The scenes where Sonic and your OC work together is some of the hypest parts of the game. I was actually shouting at the screen, "That's so cool." Other than that, it's a pretty basic Sonic game. I like the story though. It's dark, moody, edgy, end of the world kind of thing. It's a perfect match to the OC maker because everyone makes an edgy Sonic OC at some point. Unfortunately, most aspects of the game are half-baked and half-realized. Only 8 of the 30 stages are OC stages. I didn't count tag team stages because you still primarily play Sonic in them, but if I did, it'd only be half the stages. Classic Sonic's presence feels weird and kind of unwarranted, like extra padding or just something to appeal to the longtime fans. Like, they put classic Sonic stages in a lot of modern games. Sonic Classic should just have more of his own games. Maybe make a dedicated team for classic experiences like Square does with its games in Tokyo RPG Factory. This is going to be a very much just my opinion sort of thing, but hanging this hard onto classic Sonic doesn't feel like you're giving fans what they want. It feels like you're scared of losing money. You're scared of losing money and you're playing it safe and hanging on to classic Sonic as a safety net. You are holding yourself back. It makes you appear like you don't have confidence in your modern IP. That said, I haven't played any of the Sonics after this one, waiting for a steep enough sale. The stage length is also way too short in Forces. Each stage can be timed for about exactly 2 minutes, and me and my wife beat the game in one sitting. She said it was boring because modern Sonic plays itself. Classic Sonic is too slow, but that's normal in later Sonic stages, and OC stages are in between. We liked the OC stages, but as I've said, there isn't much for the OC to play. But these play at drastically different play speeds and create a sort of thematic tug of war. I've seen claims that this was supposed to be a Sonic game for the fans. Well, the scores aren't really reflecting that. I think most of all, Sonic fans want good games, and this isn't one. A game about digging a hole, 4 hours. I got this during the height of its release. It's what you'd expect. Classic YouTuber content bait. And like a hungry little fishy, I bit down hard. Overall, it's a fun concept that appeals to the deeper mole than human nature to dig holes, but never reaches full realization. Game takes about an hour to an hour and a half for the first completion. The concept is so simple. You get a shovel, and you dig a hole in the backyard. You'll collect minerals and ores and sell them to upgrade your shovel. It's like the SteamWorld Dig series, but annoyingly short. Achievements can only be unlocked by beating the game, deleting your old save, and starting over from the beginning. I believe they did this to avoid sub 2-hour refunds, rather than making a longer and more satisfying game, which they could have also done. Like I said, fun, but too short to ever reach what the concept is capable of. There is a bonus though. If you beat it, you can see me. I'm right there at the end of the game. Ratshaker, 2 hours. Similar to Whole Game, it's another simulator game that's title greatly undersells its content. It lures you in with a gimmick, then hits you with a surprise. You shake a rat. Then you shake some more. Then shake even more. The rat tells you of your sins. You choke the rat. The rat yields and leads you down a story of your sins and self-destruction. Yeah, it's another game that is very meta and is actually about something very serious. But I can't tell if it's being a parody of these kinds of games and using the story of spousal abuse as a joke, or if it's being serious. I want to give it the benefit of the doubt and say it's being serious and not making fun of spousal abuse, but come on, it's a game about shaking a rat and choking it. It's a little hard to take this so seriously while using such a humorous narrative device. That's it for this one. Thanks for watching. The next video is another bundle video, but it's going to be entirely games that I have to play with my door locked. Yeah, they're lewd games. Remember to tip your mole. I take likes, subs, and my rat shaken, not stirred. Bye.